Hi guys! Welcome back to the Sister Friend Podcast.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. You guys are probably wondering, wait, they posted a picture in completely different outfits for the teaser, and that's because the camera...
There's been a little delay in episodes. We had a mishap.
Yeah.
We recorded 2 entire episodes. Well, last night I opened them and they're in slow-mo. Like, we filmed maybe 4 hours of footage. It's in slow motion with no sound.
So we are now recovering. And that's a little bit of what we talked about in our previous episode that we thought was going to be able to be aired. Letting go.
Yeah.
And coming to terms with, like, not everything actually is going to go your way, but you can't literally lay there and die.
Yeah.
You actually just have to, like, turn the camera back on.
Get back on the horse.
And fix the settings. Like, simply put.
And, like, you know what? Yeah. It's crazy because we had an episode last week about literally, like, what do you do when you... We basically talked about letting go. What do you do when you find yourself, like, your old habits coming back?
Yeah.
Like, old version of yourself popping back up and being, like, peaking up.
Yeah.
Well, how do you handle that? And I saw it happen last night. When I pulled that computer up, I did have a meltdown. I literally was on my kitchen floor for 30 minutes, like, wheezing. And, like, I was worried my neighbors were going to come knocking. I was, like... and I had, like, makeup on, so I couldn't scream into a pillow. I had, like, red lips, but I wanted to just, like, punch a wall so bad. But it's, like, honestly, like, that reaction is, like, it's normal. And it's important to process your emotions.
Yeah.
But I'm like, darling, is this really how you react to things still? But, like, honestly, yeah. It is. I freak out sometimes.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
I think it's about the, like, how long are you going to stay in that? Like, am I going to just be a victim on that kitchen floor for an hour? Or can I express it, start to let it go after that? And what are the solutions now?
Right. And, like, what are the tools and exercises that I can do to, like, you know, exert this energy in another place?
Exactly.
Como why we're here right now.
Right, we're going to discuss that. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like, yeah.
I love processing stuff. I like not holding tension in my body and things and letting it come out. Like, the screaming into a pillow would have been a good idea. Don't get mad at yourself when you're trying to, like, you know, you experience something hard. This is, like, a small, like, example. Obviously, isn't the biggest loss in the world. It's frustrating little minor setback, but in the moment, these things feel kind of big.
Yeah.
And you're like, yo, 4 hours of my life, we had some gold. We can't recreate that. What do we do?
Yeah.
But what I do, I just, like, went for a little bike ride across the Brooklyn Bridge, continued with my plans, got some dinner, talked to Chloe, listened to a song I like, and I let it go, and I said, okay, what can I learn from this? Well, first of all, it happens to people all the time,
right?
Where you are, like, creating content, or let's say you write. This happened to me in high school when before I had, like, Google Drive, I wrote a Word document. I remember it was all finished, and then it was disappeared. Same type of meltdown type shit, but, like, these things happen that are not in your control.
Yeah.
And, like, it's about how do you treat yourself or handle it. Are you gonna, like, blame yourself and be, like, a victim for hours and let that control your whole night, or do you just roll with the punches?
Right.
That's more fun.
Yeah, I think also, too, especially when it comes to, like, not saying that these things are, like, replaceable, but it's, like, certain things that are, like, digital or, like, just, like, not mundane, but it's, like, okay, like, going general, as we said in the episode we were talking about before.
We're going to remember the facts we talked about.
They were, like, hard-hitting facts.
Yeah.
Like, just, like, going general and zooming out, like, how you just said, like, you continued on with your day.
Yeah.
And that's, like, the main thing, just, like, to not, like, hyper criticize yourself for, like, doing something that you, like, literally didn't even know.
I was talking about therapy and, like, me not wanting to go anymore and kind of avoiding my therapist, which is, like, something that I realized I should talk to her about. It's, like, why am I avoiding seeing her?
Right.
Because I'm seeing, like, I don't want her to, like, be judgmental or disappointed in me when I have these, like, self-doubts or, like, old patterns coming up again. It's literally her job, and I know she won't, but, like, to have to face someone and talk to someone about you do all this work with them and then you, like, let these things set you back. Mental things. Maybe I've graduated.
Yeah.
That's self-sabotage. I
No.
don't think so.
I think it's like...
I'm not the same person I used to be when I was starting therapy. I was like, had zero tools, bruh. Like, I don't know.
Zero.
Like, now I just don't stay in upset for long. I don't.
Yeah.
I truly don't.
Yeah. Because you know how to, like, combat
I'm not as
it.
hard as on myself. Yeah, I'm not
Right.
like, I know how to treat myself better.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that makes me feel bad is when I'm like stuck in this thing for a long time and I can't coach myself out of it or talk to myself nicer. So maybe it's that, I don't know. But this thing about going general is really amazing to me. Like, it's a real good tool.
It's a real good tool.
It's like, okay,
Right.
we can sit in this situation for a long time that's making us feel bad, or we can process it for like a good 30 minutes, let ourselves be upset, and then start to zoom out again. And like, it's my right to like stop thinking about this subject entirely.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to think about something else. I'm allowed to listen to a song that makes me feel good that has nothing to do with the situation I'm feeling.
You're allowed to get on a bike and just
Yeah.
like ride
Yeah.
over the Williamsburg Bridge
Yeah.
and like see your boyfriend, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
That's
and like,
what I did.
You know,
We just went to dinner and like I'm allowed to enjoy myself
yeah.
in other ways. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to be stuck in one temperament and like
Yeah.
mope all the time. Like it's about not being stuck and like feeling
Yeah.
like even if you can't think of anything that feels better.
Right.
Just like I have
Just like I have a heart that's beating.
Yeah.
I have legs at work.
This couch feels
I've-
good on our butts.
Yeah.
Like just general things that like take you out of the immediate like pain or suffering you're feeling. But yeah,
And it's definitely like, I think it's like thinking like just going general, but then also like thinking about your privilege to
Yeah.
be like in the space that you're at. And like things that are like happening to you, they're actually happening for you. It's like the different mindset.
I had a crazy experience this weekend that I need to tell you about.
Mhm.
Where I had to deal with a family member who is constantly disappointing, and you know you want to expect that people will change, and what do you do when they don't? Basically, like they're gonna keep showing up the
How
same
they-
way.
yeah.
Like you can change and stuff, but the people around you don't necessarily. They don't do that for themselves. So what do you do with that? Like, do you? It's like at some point you have to distance
Yeah.
and like.
Well, yeah. It's like distance, but it is also at the same time, like, not saying that my situation with my was like
Family
even
member.
close, you know,
Yeah.
to what you had to experience this weekend. But like when my family member disappointed me, when I was counting on them to just like do what they said that they were sought out to do.
Yeah.
One, it was like, yeah, like tons of self-reflection because I'm like, oh, I don't want to like mirror any of that shit in my future
Yeah.
for my like offspring or for the people that like are a part of my family.
Yeah.
Just like not the way that I'm gonna operate. So like self-reflection and like going into like why that triggered you so much and like seeking out ways that like you would want to see like a difference.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, like having, I mean, this is easier said than done, especially with like that family member, like having a conversation and like making it like on the phone, even if it's just on the phone, just be like, you need to be honest with me. You need to treat me like an adult. And like, because at this point it's just like,
for real.
at this point it's like you're a grown ass adult and I am seeing you as that. So I can at some point empathize with the things that you're doing
True.
because you can't change the way that you are because
Yeah.
this is how you've been your entire life apparently.
Mhm.
But you need to stop viewing me as like something that like a person that you like are going to be hurting if you just tell me the truth.
Yeah.
The truth is something that is going to make this a lot less gray. It's going to make
Yeah.
this a lot more clear to me, and I'm going to be able to view you in a way that's like, of course I'm going to be disappointed because it's disappointing, but I'm going to be able to accept it because it's the truth. Especially also to like going even more farther back into like Black like family like dynamics, like it's extremely hard for like Black men, I feel like, to succumb to like being like, yeah, I'm
To
a failure
failing.
at this.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why
I'm a
this
failure
person
at
is
this.
trying to cope so
Yeah,
hard
yeah,
and
Exactly.
abusing
Exactly.
substances because
exactly.
it's like
He'd
different
rather-
from a white
Yeah.
white father
Yeah,
who's not being able to like be there for his kids. It's different. It's a lot harsher in reality.
Harsher.
Like you are. I was just studying this in class. Like it's a crazy. It's a
my
phenomenon.
My book has a whole chapter about
Yeah,
Black
it's like
fathers.
black masculinity is such an extreme pressure.
It's an extreme.
It is the most extreme pressure in society, I would argue, besides being a black woman.
Yeah.
Single black mother, but like when you're a black father, it's a whole other thing. Because there's a whole thing that I just learned about in class called the fool pose. It's scholars write about it. It's like starts in black men's youth when they can't, show up for school because of the pressures that they're facing, and like they're in a white society, they kind of dissociate from it, and they kind of take on this atmosphere of like I can do other things to make money that are like they don't revolve around white dominated society. And it's like cool pose goes into like adulthood as well when you're like seeing a bunch of black
100%.
men doing drugs in a corner of the street because they're being white society is too harsh to like give them a good job, give them good opportunities, and when they do get them and then they don't work out, it's like 10 times harsher.
Yeah,
you can't come back from it.
It's the feeling of failure and it's the feeling of rejection that black men are unfortunately like super
So much
duper
more
exposed
susceptible
to and susceptible to.
It's not
And-
set out for them to succeed,
Exactly.
and so it's easier for them to fail. So when they do inevitably fail, it's so much harsher because like there's all these odds are stacked against them.
Yeah.
I do not blame him for the way that he turned out.
Yeah.
So his parents were addicts. Of course, he's an addict, and like nothing was set up for him to succeed.
Yeah.
Excuses only go so far, however, and like you do have kids and you need to step up now. But like some people aren't able to do that, especially black men.
Yeah.
So it's like there is that, and I recognize that. I do. It's like much fucking harder to come back from.
Yeah. But it's thinking when you're thinking about it from a like for example from like a statistical way, it doesn't really humanize what like he's going through, which is why I feel like hearing it from the source is like 20 times better than like just being like okay, like and you know this, like than just being like okay, like well yeah, like this like 1 + 1 = 2, so obviously you're gonna be like this. It's definitely just different hearing it from that perspective, and I feel like getting it from the perspective, because what also in the book what it talks about is just like open communication.
Mind you. So
She talks about like in this book a lot of the dynamics of black mothers and sons, and then black fathers and daughters. It was like a whole like thing that I like fully outlined, and I was like, oh, we need this. We need to like read this for the oh yeah, it's right here. Talking about how there's a lack of emotional nurture
100%.
in the culture of black men, period, especially black men that were not born in like 2000 and like above. Because if you were a black man, like, growing up in the UK, like my dad, or if you're a black man growing up in South Carolina, or you're a black man just growing up, like, during that time period of, like, the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, like, your main thing was, like, you can either go to jail, do drugs, go to college, try to go to college, or, like, have a bunch of babies or something. Like, there was just, like, the opportunities were limited, which in turn like completely diffused the act of like self-care or like going to therapy or mental health. There's no emphasis on mental health in the sector of like especially our father's generations. So in a way, for me it's more of like I have to try to empathize with you because you never were granted the access to even like think of yourself as like, oh, I'm a person that has different emotions, like different ways of thinking, like I'm actually really, really intelligent, like all this stuff. Like you are just being used as like like a workhorse. Pretty much. Like my dad just like goes to work, works, gives his money to like all the people in his life, and then just like is by himself. Like, that's just like not the way that humans should run. but that's something that we as a generation have made an emphasis on, like making sure that you're still like treating your body like a temple and like your mind as like a palace, and like actually like invigorating like your soul and your spirit.
Yeah. It's new.
It's new. It's new.
It's new.
But it is also like in turn like, I feel like for like my dad, for example, like he has been an atheist his entire life. He doesn't have something to go to like to be able to worship or like be able to, you know, have a community based around or like freedom with like the soul, or like, you know, it's all about like just getting to the next paycheck and all that stuff.
It's like built in the fucking genetic code. You're not supposed to have emotion, because if you do and you start processing the torture that your body has been through and your ancestors have been through, it's life or death, because that shit is really heavy.
It's super freaking heavy.
It's about like keeping it out. So these men who have way too much fucking pressure on themselves to be not only a black man, but to like make it in this society, they start to dissociate and just say, I don't need that. I don't need to be like, your standards are this. I need to go to college. I need to do well in school. I need to support my family and my kids. I don't need that. I'm making my own rules. I'm going to go fucking do what I want to do over here, because I can't keep up with all that. It's not built for us.
No.
So we have to create like a lower standard. He literally had to cope somehow with not being able to
provide.
Yeah, and like it's like, this is what I'm left with now, like a really traumatizing experience where he disappointed me again, and I have to make sure it doesn't happen to my kids. Like that's the only thing you can do is like understand it. It really has nothing to do with me. Because how badly did he want to go show up appropriately this time? He couldn't though. Like no fucking person wants to flop like that, but he couldn't do it. So what can I do? Like, I'm not really sad about it anymore. I'm not mad about it. I'm sad for him, but I'm like, at what point can I just like, this is again like what we kind of talked about, is like before we lost our footage. Yeah. Releasing we can't control really anything. No. So just going with the fucking waves. Yeah. Like anything's gonna just happen. Yeah. It's about how you treat yourself. Right. No one's gonna. Yeah. Like these things happen, and like it's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but like we as we were saying previously, are so blessed to be able to talk about it. Yeah. Number one, reflect on it, journal about it, like, and have like the option to actually like, okay, like generalize it.
Yeah, like generally speaking,
like, read about
there
it.
Are like, unfortunately, yeah, like there are so many blessings. Like this happened. Yeah, my biological dad is not cut out for the job. However, I have uncles who are literally like angels and have just stepped into my life to be that for me. And it's like God. Like it really is. Like what are the odds that I have other people who are available for me? Like it's not the same. Obviously, I look around at my friends and I'm like, I don't understand why I don't have a family that's like that. It's a situation.
It's a situation, but we've made it actually like this far. Yeah. And overall, I've been actually just fine. Yeah. And have like connected with our like higher selves through it
quickly,
and then also like have had each other the entire time. And then obviously our moms like have been like literal beacons. Yeah. To make sure that we were never like super aware of what was going on.
Never.
And like once we were ready, they were like, okay, so this is what I've had to deal with the entire time. Yeah. And it's like genuinely like, oh my gosh, like thank you so much from like shunning me from that. Yeah. And like giving me time to see him as like just my dad.
That's so true. My whole childhood, my mom never broke it to me that he was just like not supposed to be a father. Yeah. No, women go above and beyond to protect these men and protect their kids so that we can like be in ignorance is bliss vibes, which has been amazing throughout my childhood. So I'm not like
childhood, right?
But now it's like real.
Now it's like, which is why like I had a conversation with my dad and I was like, listen, like I know that you see me as your little girl. I cannot deal with that type of treatment anymore because it's literally has no bottom. Like it's false. It's broken promises. It's heartbreak. It's trauma. Like it's like if you are not just gonna be like outright honest with me when you can show up and when you're not gonna be able to, that's gonna be eons better than like me like still like as a little kid and like getting my hopes up for literally nothing. I think at the end of the day, it's just like open communication, honesty, because then you're able to stay general.
Yeah.
You are able to stay general if you know the expectations that you're about to receive. Like, simply put.
It's hard to have a conversation with an addict because they're always in denial. If he's clearly comfortable with the way he's living. Not comfortable, he's not happy. No one's happy who's doing this. But, like, this is his lifestyle. And, like, he's not going to be taken away from it. It's a fucking addiction.
It's also another thing, going back to the whole black man situation. Like, they're not going to receive help from women.
No.
Or any, like, or anybody that is, like, they think that is inferior to them because they feel very inferior, period.
And from your child, too. Like, you wouldn't hear me out.
No. And that's when I had my conversation with my dad, I was like, I'm not trying to, like, make you out to be a bad person, a bad dad. Like, I'm talking to you as a human being right now.
Literally.
And that, I mean, that's, like, not gonna happen if he is not fully there.
He's not sober,
so
it's hard to have
a conversation with him where he's actually gonna listen.
I've seen it firsthand how we've gone through, like, young women who are, and we're learning it young. People kind of, like, go through this till their fucking 40s. Like, I refuse to do it again.
Shablam.
I refuse to do it again.
Like,
I refuse to do it again.
I refuse.
I put my foot down.
I refuse. Wow. Whoa.
I'm ending the cycle. Promise you that.
Like, wow.
Like, gather my things, get my purse.
Like,
I've said what I needed to say. It's not happening
it's not happening. Whoa. Because, well, yes. Yeah, like, my dad was extremely avoidant.
Yeah.
Would literally leave me and her for, like, weeks when I was, like, an infant.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
To, like, work.
Oh, yeah.
And for my dad, it was something of, like, oh, like, I'm leaving for, like, 6 days, but, like, here's my credit card. And, like, when my mom was talking about, like, oh, like, here's my credit card, like, here's the keys to my car, like, you can have all your friends, like, go out to dinner, da-da-da, which is not a way of showing love or, like, living with love in a relationship. Yeah, it's putting a Band-Aid, a financial Band-Aid
100%.
on, like, lost time. Which, in that same vein, it's like, oh, yeah, like, I'm, like, not ever, letting a man act like that with me.
It's not, for me, it's like I spent a lot of my, I'm only 22, but like I've always felt like I'm dating guys who are like literally halfway out that damn door. I won't do it. Like, I have started to train my brain to find that just unattractive because I was so comfortable with it. And I'm like, oh, this is just how it goes. Like, people are fleety. They get cold feet. No, that's not fucking normal. It's not normal to be avoidant. No. If you have an issue, you gotta talk to your partner about it. Like, I'm not doing that. Yeah. It doesn't feel good in my chest. No. Like, it is, like, anxiety riveting.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, I'm not doing it.
It's a form of instant gratification when they are, like, high on you, and then when they are like, okay, bye.
When they're not feeling it.
Gone. And they're gone within like a blink of an eye, and they like don't really see what they're doing wrong.
Yeah, feeling that way, it was happening for a couple years, and now I'm like, not putting myself through this anymore.
No.
If I see the signs of it happening, like, I have to evaluate things heavily.
Yes.
Like, before I was just like, okay, this is how it is, but I'm beginning to understand that that's not normal, and truthfully, it's not the majority of people. I don't believe that. I do believe that there's like really healthy situations out there that we have access to. And that's the amazing thing that we were talking about, because I was going through a situation where I was with a really avoidant person. I have always been very anxious attachment.
I just got like a really disgusting message.
What? Chloe and I have been transitioning out of the anxious attachment to the secure attachment. If you're not familiar with the attachment styles, get into the attached book. And you can listen to it on audiobooks if you have too much happening. But it's really helpful to understand where you're really at with that, because these things really get in the way of how you operate and who you choose.
Yes.
So, we were feeling all these feelings about these people we were dating, and like, why are they all in the same category of like, you know, replicating traits of being super avoidant, like not communicating well,
not
kind
like
of
treating you like a human, literally like hates you, like doesn't respect
and why are we
you.
attracted to that, and like last minute gonna cancel on you, or just like,
or like
toxic,
literally like toxic,
and we're like. Yeah, we were like kind of going through it at the same time. We were like, why is this happening and stuff? Like, how do we get out of this?
Yeah, and why does it keep coming back like a freaking
Why
virus?
is it the same person in a different font every time?
Every time. Yeah.
Because we were stuck in an anxious attachment style, and we're transitioning very swiftly, amazingly out of that, I do believe. Like, I've seen it firsthand with my girl. She's seen it with me. I'm not, like, it does take work to be like, you know what? This is gonna be now. I choose to let this behavior be an ick. I choose to like not let it be attractive.
I choose to not be attracted to it, and I choose to
if not for like
it makes
yourself.
me feel fucking awful, but like for like
do it for your future kids.
Future kids.
You do not want them to have a dad.
You do not want like
think about yourself as a kid.
Yeah, and think of him being your father.
Hell no.
Think of get into the Oedipus complex, like here's the thing, like I feel like also too, like there's like a misconception of like, as we were saying, like, oh my god, like every like gorgeous man like in New York like is just like anxious avoidant, like fucking like avoidant, like dickhead, like
not true though.
Not true.
That's our limiting beliefs, like allowing us to be like, oh, we've experienced this, only we're attracting this, so this must be the case. That's not true.
No,
I think we were like really, maybe it was exciting or something. Like we were not knowing what we were gonna get next. But like, do you know what feels so much better is when you're not having heart palpitations. And do you know what the path was? We were like, how do we stop this? Like we don't need to be. Also, we were kind of like, I feel like it happened at the same time to you and me, where we were kind of like, shit, like, do we have to stop dating for a while?
Yeah.
Do we have to be alone for a couple fucking months or something?
Do I need to be celibate or like just solitary, like for?
Do you have to like not be looking for someone for a second? And then we had this conversation where we're like, actually, you know what? Let's just turn off the switch where we're looking for people. Obviously be receptive to what's around you.
Right.
Or when I was like in this mode of let me focus on me, I'd go out maybe to a coffee shop or even out with my friends to a bar and just be focused on my girls or myself, or like, you know, I'm not going out with the intention of meeting someone. That's when people come, because you're not thinking about it.
No.
And like and you're not like addicted to like instant gratification.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like in a receptive mode.
Right. Yeah.
And you're enjoying yourself in the present, and when you're not looking, you have 30 fucking options.
No, because it's like when you also are like receptive to instant gratification, then the people that can provide you that will show up.
Yeah.
Instantly. It's like
you make
putting out it's like putting out like a fucking like box of chocolates and like, but no, it's not even that. It's like putting like a dead sheep like in front of a lion. Like when you are wanting instant gratification from somebody, or like you're wanting to be with somebody because they make you feel a specific way for like an instant, they're always going to be able to show up and give you that. But then it's like, oh, like you got that and that's all you're going to get. When you open up like the mass of like, okay, like what is it that I need? What is it that I want? What is it that this person can provide for me, and vice versa?
In the next couple months, not tonight.
Exactly.
Like, let me think about Darling, how she's going to feel if she's interacting with this person in a month from now. Will she be gratified? Or will she just be gratified tonight? Because that is self-harm.
Yeah.
Do things now that are going to make you feel good later. Like, obviously, like...
And make your future, like, a lot more blissful.
And obviously, we're not, like... We don't necessarily need to be thinking, oh, I'm going to marry and have kids with this person right now. But, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, that's how, like, your brain should work. You should feel safe enough with the person that you're with that they could potentially be the father of your kids. And you wouldn't be stressed out because they're not a good person. Or they're not healed.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if you never want to have kids in your life. Your nervous system deserves to be regulated. Like, don't fucking play with it.
Yeah, like, genuinely.
But what I'm saying is, if I'm at the fucking bar with my friends and I'm texting this goddamn toxic guy I'm seeing, and I'm not looking up, no one's gonna want to come talk to me.
No.
Maybe a nice guy would come to be interested in having a conversation with me if I'm, like, actually, if you're making fucking energetic and physical space when you're just not thinking about, you know, always being on the fucking next thing. Like, just be present. And that's exactly where we got to how we are now. And I tell you, a couple fucking months ago, we were in this apartment moping to each other.
Oh my god, yeah.
How do we get through this? And we just came to the conclusion, like, you know what? We're not even going to try to fix anything.
Yeah.
We're going to just be tuning into ourselves for just to commit to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Of just, like, I am not going to go out with the intention of looking for something right now.
Yeah.
And what the fuck happened? It came in 2 days. Like,
literally.
what?
And doing things that, like, literally are just tailor-made, like, for you, like, then creates, like, abundance in, like, every other pot that you have in your life. Like, genuinely.
Like, completely off the subject. Like, literally, if I'm stressed about a relationship, or I'm stressed about this podcast fucking episode we lost, like the 2 we lost, like, just getting off the subject, cooking a delicious meal for yourself, tuning into something that has nothing to do with the thing that stresses you out is so healing. Like, that's what Going General fucking means.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you got 1,000 things you can choose to focus on. Your attention is where your energy goes. Like, put energy to something that feels good. That feel-good feeling is just going to go, and it's going to attract more feel-good feelings.
Yes.
Like, you know?
It's
Like, it's really awesome how we have the choice to do all these things. How was your week? Like, did you do anything exciting besides have a nice, like...
This week or last week?
All weeks, man.
Oh my god, literally last week I literally worked every single day.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I literally fucking worked my butt off.
This
so
is
I
what
was
we
like,
talked about
I'm
last week.
literally gonna go get my hair done. I'm also going to go have wine with my friends. I'm also going to go to my job as a customer so I can get free stuff. And then I'm also going to get a massage.
There's the thing. You have to, like, there's these, instead of, like, doing the things as a chore, like, the self-care things.
Right.
Making them, understanding, sometimes I'll do, like, my nails or something, and I'm doing and I'm trying to read for homework, or I'm trying to memorize lines while I'm also, like, trying to cook a delicious meal for myself. Like, recognizing the or doing skincare. That was my example last time. Doing skincare while I'm trying to, like, memorize lines, or finish my homework assignment while I'm, I don't know, trying to, like, enjoy a show. Like, I try to do all these things for myself. I'm like, oh, you're doing self-care. No, you have to understand these self-care things take time. And you're going to have to allow 30 minutes to enjoy something so you can enjoy it. Because the multitasking is not allowing you to enjoy yourself. Like, I understand we're busy, but to give yourself, to say, I deserve this 30 minutes of only doing this one self-care act is very valuable, is what I'm learning. Like, I'm not going to be multitasking doing too much. Doing too much.
That's why, like, I'm, like, honestly, like, thank God that my hair literally takes, like, almost, like, 6 hours, because I just get to sit there, listen to music, read my book, go on my computer, like, while I'm just, like, chilling.
I'm getting my hair braided by my sister in Long Island. I'm really excited. She's really good.
Should I go?
Yeah.
Like, next?
Like, what? She's so good.
I want to see.
So thank you guys for watching, and thanks for getting deep with us this episode. We try to keep it light, but sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
But you know what? For better or for worse, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Love you.
We love you. We'll be back next week. Sorry for the delay, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Bye. And work.
Yeah.
No, that was great.
I'm just